and I'll look around for any kind of papers or any maps of the area.
Oh.
See if they can fill in the blanks.
It takes a little bit of time, but you do eventually come across several maps. A detailed map of the house as it currently stands, a detailed map of proposed renovations and expansions to the house that the Baron has been working on for a period of time, a map of the escape tunnels, and a map of the town itself and the surrounding areas. The escape tunnels appear to have two exits. One of them it exits into a tower that is located nearby the manor, and the other exits onto the river. It appears that they have some sort of small dock or mooring down there that they can use to launch some sort of a boat from in the escape tunnels. Doing that would allow them to shoot down the river to the inland sea, and then from the inland sea either make a quick trip to Esminster or to near Ketton or any of the other towns along or near the inland sea. This would be slightly easier on the world map, so I'll share this all to you. So, let me grab a brush. Basically, the escape tunnel would let them do that, and then from there go either to Esminster or up to near Ketton or to Stone. So that in the event of the building being captured, they could make a relatively quick escape by river down to the inland sea and then go from there and make a choice.
And what about this tower? Would it be restricted only to the Baron's use, or is it a tower?
It currently serves as a munitions and armory for the town guard. Or munitions store and an armory for the town guard.
And with this schematic, was there any correlation to getting access to the tunnels via the sewer system, or are these only the two entrances possible for the whole thing?
These are the only two entrances possible.
Okay, then I guess we'll be looking at the schematics and seeing if there's any kind of gated areas near the entrances to see if they have any protection from outside people getting in.
It was listed that at one point there had been... It was effectively billed as a sluice gate on the river entrance. However, that has since fallen into disrepair, and given the recent times of peace, has been neglected. So, it's not noted whether it's still present or not, but if it was probably in such a poor state of repair, or poor state of being. However, the entrance into the tower, it's noted that you cannot use the tower entrance to get into the tunnels. It is actually just an exit from the tunnels into the tower. It appears to be a one-way door.
Like, how would that work? Like, trying to picture it in my head.
The exit from the tunnels into the tower would be a door that only opens one direction and has no sort of opening mechanism from the inside of the tower. It has to be opened from the tunnel side.
Okay. Then I would, with this information in hand, I would take it with me, and I would go back to the manor, see how Pim's coming along.
Okay. And then Pim, you wanted to poke around everything here?
Oh yeah. So, basically I wanted to look through this hutch,
trunk, see if there's anything in there. Let me give you a perception check. Whoops, there we go. Oh, that's awful.
That is his dresser. He's got his normal sets of clothing. The only thing of note is that it contains 2 jewelry boxes and a large container or large satchel of coin. It appears to be about 200 gold, just sitting in a satchel in his dresser. Most people would probably have a strong box or some sort of safe for this.
Yeah. Damn it. Alright, I see that stuff. I just bury it back in the bottom of the trunk then. I'm not gonna take it.
Okay.
It wouldn't be right to take it anyway. So I'm just gonna go back into this room then. And look through the desk to see, like, if there's anything.
There appears to be a draft of a letter. It is addressed to a... Hold on. It is addressed to one Earl Edwulf Cott. I will copy that name for you because that's strange. Also note that the Earl is in fact the title Earl, not his first name. The address is a location in Destone.
That dude got picked on in high school for that name.
No, he didn't. He's a nobleman. He can have you executed if you pick on him.
Well, he's lucky then. Edwulf?
You said in Destone?
Yep. He is the Earl of Destone. The subject matter of the letter is, strange. It's a letter of, the Baron is declining an invitation to join in some sort of movement called, the Keton Refreshment Act. Or movement. Either one works. He uses it interchangeably, act and movement.
Keton Refreshment Movement?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's odd. I'm gonna fold the letter up and stick it in one of my pockets.
Okay.
Someone might be able to help me figure it out, and if all else fails, I can just deliver the letter to the Earl.
Mm-hmm.
The bookcases, were any of the books, like, they seem to be sitting out of place, or anything like that?
It appears that he references the books very often. A lot of the books are, sort of haphazardly placed back into the bookcase.
Mm.
Basically, these are reference books for him. There's all sorts of topics here. The books that appear to be most often referenced are history books.
Just on the off chance, let's do, like, detect magic to see if he's got any spell books hiding around.
There is a book that radiates some amount of magic. It is actually sitting on his desk.
Okay, so I'm gonna go over to that and look at it.
Okay. Give me a second. The book is a research book of some sort. Doesn't have a title, just covers blank, and it appears to be a completely handwritten book.
Alright. I'm gonna put that into another pocket. And then I'm gonna go up into this room.
I just noticed there's
And,
a picture of a mind flayer on one of those things.
Yep.
Huh. This room has all sorts of magical spell components, research, stuff like that. Whole lot of magic.
Yeah. I'm just gonna start throwing it into my bags because some of this might, like, I don't know, it might be able to help us figure out what was going on, whatever this Ketan refreshment movement is.
Roll me Perception or Arcana, whichever you choose.
We will do Arcana.
Okay. You do recognize one of the books as an actual spell book. And it appears to have some amount of minor warding.
Okay. Do I know if I pick it up, will that set the wards off, or is it if I open it?
Roll Arcana again.
Maybe I can get a high roll for once.
Unsure. It doesn't appear to be anything too spectacular, so it's a 50-50 shot on picking it up or opening it or any other sort of disturbance just triggering it.
I'm just gonna put my hand on it.
Okay. There's a brief little zap, sort of like a joy buzzer zap, and the ward begins dissipating.
Okay. I'm gonna open it. And flip through the pages. See, is it good magic? Is it evil magic?
There's a puff of dust and, the other sort of stuff as you open it. This book has not been opened in a long time. While initially it appears to be disguised as a spell book, it is not actually a spell book. It is research. And it is research on various strange and out there, for lack of a better word, fringe magic topics.
That's weird.
Yes. There's all sorts of things in here. Transformation of a beast into a man, or beasts into beasts with human-like intellect. Various sorts of transmutations. Converting the life energy of a person into spell power. A note on transference of the soul through the medium of time. Various sorts of strange fringe magics.
So we're just gonna pile that into my backpack too. Maybe we can find a more powerful. Oh, maybe that wizard that we found. He can help us figure it out. Why the Baron had these books and why he was looking into this. Really, just as much of the magical stuff as possible in this room. I want to put into my backpack and take.
Roll me an insight check.
I don't want to take it anymore.
Something is odd to you. This house is empty. While his wife was away on business, at this point the Knights will report back to you. There is no one else in this house. His wife is away visiting family. The masters of the house, the butler, the chef, and the groundskeeper are not here, and neither his 3 children. Nor is the most recent addition to his staff, his court mage.
Oh, that wizard.
Yeah. County business is conducted usually half here and half in the actual mayoral office, for lack of a better word. And there's no one else here. Not even in the small tower small bell tower that exists as the paltry second floor to this manor.
Huh. Alright, I'm gonna finish scooping this stuff into my bag, and I'm gonna begin heading out.
Okay. At this
I'm
point,
gonna- No, go ahead.
you will run into Father Crow.
Okay, so I'll be waiting for you down here by the body.
Okay. I'm like, oh, Father Crow, you're back.
Yes, I seem to have found some blueprints of this place. I would turn towards... where are our guards, by the way? Are these just the guards from the Princess Envoy?
Mm-hmm. They're standing at the door. One of them inside the door, the other outside the door. They're basically just, anyone who they don't think is supposed to be in here should not be allowed in here.
So I would... on the way back here, I would have, asked for the captain of our guard to at least come to the manor. Or any of the Baron's personal guards.
The Baron actually did not maintain a staff of personal guards. There were, when he was actually doing his courtly duties, maintaining stuff like that, one or two town guard would stand guard over the proceedings, but he maintained no personal retainer. But the captain of the guard from the town will actually accompany you back, and he will stand guard along with the knight. And he will begin setting up a few more guards to help maintain the scene.
And the only other thing I would do before leaving the priory would be to get one of the sisters to send word to wherever the barracks are for the active kind of change of the guards for the front gate. And whoever was the last guards at the gates to report to the manor once they to be woken up and report to the manor, or to come immediately to kind of debrief them to see if there's anyone that's left the town since this happened.
Okay. It'll take them about half an hour to an hour to wake up, and be in a presentable and guardly fashion and be capable of answering questions.
So after now I would have arrived at the manor and met up with Pim and showed him the schematics for the tunnels and everything. And as we await, as you said, the captain was with us, the captain of our guard.
Mm-hmm.
He would also be there, present as discuss this with him. So I would turn towards the little group of people around us and say that, from what I found, there's at least one exit into the river, and a door would be from the inside that goes to the the ammunition tower. And I would ask the captain of the guard to at least have 2 guards posted inside the tower where even though they can't open the door from that side, at least to keep anyone that's might be down those tunnels from getting out that way. And then I would also ask him to send a small group into the river entrance, and I would turn towards Pam and say, we'll take a few guards with us if you're willing after you. And my plan is to go down into the escape hatch and search around the tunnels for any other clues, but I want the exits to be guarded at least.
No, I think that's a good plan. I'm ready when you are.
And then I would kind of apologize for not listening to what you have to say first and say what, and then I'll turn towards you and ask, what have you found thus far?
I feel like I can be pretty open with Father Crow, so I'm gonna just explain how I found the Baron had a lot of research books on really strange magic that isn't really natural magic. I'm not really sure why he has this stuff, but I've grabbed it in my backpack, and if we can find his court wizard or someone who can help us figure out what this magic is normally used for and why the Baron would be looking into it, that would be helpful. And then I'm going to ask him if he's ever heard of something about the Ketan refreshment movement.
before you manage to ask about that, the captain of the guard will actually, clear his throat and sort of chime in and say, those books weren't actually his. They were delivered a few days prior when you returned to the town with that Caldric fellow. Myself and the butler helped him move them into what would be the wizard's private study then.
Oh.
Those were Caldric's books. He had us move them in. He had them in his bag, but asked that we move them in for him while he took care of setting up some other things for his labs.
Okay, well then, we're not going to Caldric about this. And I look to the guard and I ask him, if he'd not let Caldric know that we have his stuff if he sees him.
He'll nod. Sure, that guy kind of gives me the creeps anyway. I'd rather stay away from him.
So then I'm also gonna I'm gonna continue with I pull out the letter and I tell him he was in communication with the Earl from the Stone about a Ketan refreshment movement. Have you heard anything about that before?
Either of you can make insight or nobility checks if you'd like. Let's see.
Oh man,
Don't you have nobility?
nobility's not a thing in Forge.
Oh, it's history then. History, right?
All right. Well, here's my history.
No. Yeah. But
I'm like the dumbest caster ever.
yeah, who needs to know about the past when you can rip things in the reality asunder?
That's great.
And what about Father Crow? Insight or history?
Insight's my strongest one, and I had to roll a low one.
While you, Father Crow, don't actually recognize it, Pim, in your period of time alive here, you have heard about another movement that bared a very similar name. It was the Ketan Restoration movement, and that was probably, in terms of human generations, about 2 or 3 generations ago. Someone just drove by like a jackass on my street. 2 or 3 generations ago.
Human generations?
Yes.
Okay.
Several of the nobles were displeased with the king at the time of Ketan and began plotting out a movement to either weaken the king's stance and force him to their terms, or completely just oust the king and take over. The plot failed. There were a lot of infights that came about in between the members of the movement, differences of ideas and opinions, but the leader of the town, or leader of that movement, was at the time the Earl of Destone. This does bear a lot of striking similarities to the current movement that the Baron was writing about.
Interesting. So I'm just gonna relay that then to him, Father Crow, as I'm like, oh yeah, I think I heard about something like this before. Probably. Wait, how old is Father Crow?
I'm 28.
Okay. I was like, probably either when you were really young or right before you were born, there was another movement, and I just kind of regurgitate what was just said. I'm basically going to look at Father Crow and I'm like, if that's the case, I think we have to talk to the king. Or the princess. And let her know.
The princess is from Orland. Different nation.
Oh, right. then yeah, we have to talk to the king.
Well, we'll also need to relay a message to at least the leaders of Orland, because we need to kind of extinguish any kind of hostile acts against our kingdom. At least if they get word that there's been an assassination attempt on their princess, we don't know what's going to happen between. Yeah. So we're going to need to at least send a messenger with the news thus far, and send at least a message from the princess telling her side of the story. But in the meantime, have the guards come here yet from the gates?
Yes, they have.
Okay. I would turn towards them and say, good. You two, or however many there are.
Two. One for each of the major gates.
Okay. I want to know of all, do we know how long this body's been here?
They had a meeting sometime last night, so probably between 9 or so in the previous night to they were discovered just after dawn, so maybe a period of 8 to 10 hours.
So during your shifts, what was the traffic like out of town?
The man from the south gate will respond and will say, at the south gate we didn't have any traffic at all, either ingoing or outgoing. Hooligans trying to make trouble down by the gate, but nothing going out. However, the man from the north gate is sort of the opposite. We'll say we had a cart go out, horse, cart, and a rider. Claimed he was shipping some sort of time-sensitive. What was the word he used? And he'll snap his finger. Wasn't a package. It was a time-sensitive parcel, I think he said. At least that's what he said when I questioned him as to why he was leaving, middle of the night. I didn't think too much of it. We do occasionally get merchants who travel with goods that might spoil or become less valuable the longer it is from their departure. Headed out probably just past midnight.
Were they traveling alone?
As far as I could tell, it was just him. The cart was filled to the brim and covered in a tarp.
Okay, then I thank you, both of them, and say, just kind of smile towards him and say, go get some sleep now. And, your job's done here for now.
I'll nod.
Okay. So the guards that I want to send that I want to have guarding the tower, like at least 2 guards in the tower where the entrance would be if they try to escape, and then send another dispatch of guards in through this river entrance. Then I want to take 2 of the guards that are at the door with us. I'm guessing Andis is still in the priory with the princess, or did he come back?
He'll have come back eventually.
Okay, so if Andis is feeling up to it, he can accompany myself, Pam, and a few guards down into the tunnels to do a thorough search before we worry about this person who's left. We have to at least make sure the tunnels are secure.
Okay. Let me just find some generic guard tokens to place in location. Guard. You work for a generic guard. 1, 2. Six. And to denote that, you and you. Okay. I will bring you back to the map momentarily. Once I have everything hidden that needs to be hidden. I have revealed everything since you have schematics of the tunnel. So you can feel free to look around, see if you can figure out a most likely path that you'd like to take. The location of the guards denotes the 2 exits. And how many guards are currently stationed there.
Right.
She doesn't need to be on this map anymore. She's been discovered.
Okay.
So we'll look around and say, in a few moments, the other guard should be at their post and start to flush out the tunnels with us. So, looking at the map, I would say that to the south of us is where the river entrance is, and to the southeast is where the entrance to the tower is.
Yeah.
So the guards should be coming up from the south if we want to go a different direction, but that's up to you. I want your feedback on it.
Avich will take a look at the map, and I'll note that there are several large areas that seem to serve no purpose on the map itself. You'd say, considering we found the princess in one of these, perhaps they might serve as a good hiding spot. Otherwise, I think we should just systematically sweep like the hands of a mechanical clock, going from the north to the east, to the south, to the west, to the north again. Sweeping everything.
Okay.
That sounds good to you, Pim?
Yeah.
Okay, then let's have him take point, and me and Pim will follow.
Okay. To save you some time and effort, you can scare away the rats fairly easily.
Okay.
Just put those on the GM layer, because they're not relevant unless you really want to kill all of the rats.
No.
I didn't think so.
By now I have a torch, so besides Pim's ability to just fire at them to scare them, I'm also waving my torch in their direction.
Mm-hmm.
So looking at this dead end on the left side, do we find anything of note?
In the dust corner that or in the pile of detritus and such that the rats had been making their home and eating their dinner in, you do find a discarded weapon that does appear to be covered in blood.
So is it just like a dagger? Or what type of weapon is it?
It is a kukri. So yes, effectively it's just a dagger, but it's also slightly more expensive and slightly more rare than a dagger. It would fit with all of the wounds that the handmaid had suffered.
It's odd that they would ditch the weapon like this. I mean, I don't see the reason, unless they were the ones that made the escape from top, to not have the weapon concealed on them. So whoever that caravan driver was, sort of, I could see it then, but it doesn't make sense if they were still inside these tunnels. So at least that gives me more reasoning that saying that the perpetrator is probably already outside the city. However, we should still search the rest of the place just to be sure.
Yeah, and who knows what we'll find.
Okay, so I'll give the weapon to Avik, and then we'll continue on.
Okay. I'll just bring you wise. Just let me know if there are any places of note in the searching that you'd actually like to stop and search thoroughly.
So let's just search this corner also.
This corner, there isn't really much down here. There is some disturbed dust that looks to have been, or once contained a barrel. A few barrels, maybe. There are a few spots where the dirt has been disturbed.
So make note of that. Looks like something's been drug away here. And I'll kind of mention the barrels that we found where the handmaiden was. Maybe this looks about the circular pattern that would be the size of those barrels. So when we make our way back there, maybe we get a good idea to check. Like, since I don't know that there's barrels up ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we can move on.
We'd want to look into this section too.
Yeah. Another perception check.
These barrels are roughly the same size as the marks you had found previously, where they had been disrupted, but they are not, unfortunately, alcohol barrels. They are barrels for storing another substance.
Oh god.
Is it the gunpowder?
Yes, it is.
Why is there so much gunpowder here?
Sir Avich will, take a step back when he realizes what this is and say, I have one guess as to why or two guesses rather, why it might be down here, and why there's so much of it. And I'm less keen on one of them than the other.
Yeah, go on.
First, the Baron, or whoever owned the house at the time, that these were brought down here, was experimenting with uses of dragon powder beyond flashy shows and temporary, small-term damaging devices. Or the other is, bringing down the house.
Are there any familiar markings on the barrels that might coincide with the barrels we found on the bandits that were heading to those ruins?
Roll me insight or perception, whichever you wish. And it was a good question, and the answer is yes. They both bear the same, it looks like company marking, that denotes who made the barrel, at least, if not the contents of the barrel. The markings are for a company you have never seen. So either it is a now defunct company that makes made the barrels, or it is a company from a nation or from another location that's not common.
What do we know about... Well, obviously they're storing them here. I guess they could be... I'm not sure exactly what the Baron would want to accomplish in Hillford itself as for taking over stuff, since he was technically, one of the leaders here. But as for transporting these barrels out, I could see him using the river for that, and then moving by carriage to keep the suspicion from the guards at the gate from stopping him and checking over what he has. But as for stockpiling the barrels here, it's either reasoning that they must be moving the barrels to this location, or that they made the barrels here and were moving it out of this location. And since those bandits were heading to those ruins, I kind of suppose that they're in somehow making the powder here and transporting them from the tunnels.
Sir Avich will also chime in again. He'll say, I haven't seen the stuff needed to make the powder here, especially not on this magnitude. During one of my earliest tours of duty, I spent time with the small group of alchemists from Beckinsale. They had been experimenting with dragon's breath themselves, and they had managed to produce some amount of it. Given what I learned from while I was with them, it's a relatively rare commodity. There aren't many people who know how to use it, and the original people who had made it, the giants, are gone. So the stuff we produce now is nowhere near as good. If they're making it here, then they have some impressive skills at hiding a facility. So, the facility itself, just to start the refinement process that they had used in Beckinsale, was probably as large as the manor.
Well, if that's the case, I'm still not sure on the significance of storing them here then, unless they were getting them shipped in from where the river meets this location, just storing them for future use, and then making their way to those ruins like the bandits were. I don't see any kind of correlation to why they would need them in Hilford, other than keeping them temporarily to move somewhere else. So if they're not building them here, at least we know there must be other rooms full of this stuff, or whatever stockpile they were attempting to gain. I guess the question is what they would be doing with this much. So I guess we should move on to other rooms, unless you have something to chime in, Pim, like any theories.
The only thing I could think of is if bringing down the house was a backup plan. What's down here that they would want hidden in that case?